Yo, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're pretty much going to be breaking down the entire beef between Diego Lopez and Yair Rodriguez because it's a very interesting one. There's a lot of big claims that are being mentioned right now. We're going to go ahead and talk about all of that. But first, we're going to talk about how the beef initiated. Now, a couple of days ago, they asked Yair Rodriguez about Diego Lopez representing Mexico, and Yair Rodriguez really isn't a big fan of it. He says, "I've been living in Mexico and living in the U.S. for over 10 years. I love this country because it gave me the opportunity to have a job, but not because of that. I'm going to say I'm American. I'm not. I'm Mexican. I'm proud of it. I just don't agree with Diego Lopez, obviously representing Mexico. I will never be that way. I don't want to be that way. I have been killing myself for over 10 years for my country. If they decide to go with Diego, if we have to fight, then that's on them. In my honest opinion, I really don't understand why Yair Rodriguez would even care about Diego Lopez representing Mexico. I really don't think why it's that of a big issue. I think that Diego Lopez does train in Puebla, Mexico, and I think that training in a place in Mexico gives you honestly the right to represent that country as well because you are actively training with Mexicans in a Mexican country in a Mexican state and have been doing so for years. So if Diego Lopez wants to go ahead and represent Mexico because that's just what he is, that's where he, initiated his entire MMA career, then why the fuck is Yair Rodriguez, being so anal about it? It just doesn't make any sense to me. We're gonna go ahead and read exactly what was said, because I think it's great context for the video whenever we do react to it, and I think that this could be legitimate beef. I know that in the UFC we see a lot of people, put on an act to try to sell a fight, but I think that there is legitimate beef between Yair Rodriguez and Diego Lopez. I don't think that they're faking it. I think that they're actually beefing for real. Like this is beyond MMA and deeper than the UFC 100%, or at least they're doing a really good job at convincing everybody, including myself, that they actually are 100% without a doubt beefing with each other. So, a reporter asked Lopez if he'd fight Rodriguez at Noche UFC in Guadalajara, Mexico on September 13th. If he won the title this weekend, that's when hell broke loose. How many consecutive losses does he have? Lopez responded, obviously talking to Yair Rodriguez, because Yair Rodriguez did, lose a couple of times, including in Mexico, which, it is what it is. Rodriguez replied, "Pussy, didn't you jump Marco Beltran?" For those of you guys that don't know who Marco Beltran is, he is a fighter that is a familiar face for those of you guys that have been, watching the UFC for a while. He competed, a couple of years ago in the UFC. His last fight actually was against Diego Lopez, which is very, very interesting. Apparently, what Yair Rodriguez is saying is that Diego Lopez and his team jumped Beltran, which is a really close friend of Yair Rodriguez. He said, "Didn't you jump Marco with your team? Yes or no? I've been waiting for the right moment to tell you this to your fucking face. You're going to pay for Marco." So I think 100% without a doubt that they're beefing for real. Like, just imagine for a little bit, that you're sitting next to or sitting in the same room as somebody that jumped, somebody that's really, really close to you. Obviously, that's going to bring up a lot of, pent up emotions. And that's exactly what Yair Rodriguez did. He called Diego Lopez a bitch or a pussy ass motherfucker to his face. And obviously, it reacted the way that it did. Lopez claims that Rodriguez threatened the woman, which, whenever I heard them talking in Spanish, I didn't really hear that in my honest opinion, and it's the same thing here. There's no order or timeline to these accusations, and honestly, in my opinion, I really didn't hear a threat to not one lady. If not, I would have honestly saying this in this video, but I've read and heard the context of everything that was said, and honestly, I don't hear Yair Rodriguez, threatening any woman, but apparently Lopez did, and he says that you threatened the woman and you're gonna have to pay for that. And he pretty much said, "Don't talk about my team." And obviously, Rodriguez says, "Don't twist up my words," which I do think that Lopez was, doing because I didn't hear not one threat to not one woman that entire ordeal. But with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and react to exactly what went down tonight at the press conference because this has the possibility of it becoming a real fight or a real matchup later on this year, especially since we know that Noche UFC and Guadalajara is pretty much announced. So this could be a potential fight that we do see on that card. Let's go ahead and watch this clip.
Suficiente. Yair, ¿qué te parecen esas expresiones? Culón.
Oh.
Culón.
Culon pretty much means like pussy. He's calling him a bitch, a pussy, like to his face.
Oh.
Dímelo. Culón.
Oye,
Eres
what's-
culón, ¿sabes por qué eres
Oh.
culón? No le pegaron a Diego entre tú y tu equipo.
Say it to my face,
No le
man.
pegaron a Diego entre... No le pegaron a Marco entre tú y tu equipo. Escucha. Le pegaron a Marco entre tú y tu equipo, ¿sí o no? Esperando el momento correcto estaba...
So Yair is pretty much saying, didn't y'all jump Beltron, you and your team? I've been waiting for this exact moment to tell you to your face.
Para decirte esto en tu pinche cara, loco.
Oh, we were
Tú me
waiting
la vas a
for-
pagar a mí por Marcos, güey.
And you guys
Y si me esperas la verga, güey.
fight me. Is that what you want to fight me? What's going on?
Toca Yagi de mi equipo y confesarás las cosas.
And they didn't say it in the translation, but Yair Rodriguez told Diego Lopez to suck my dick. He literally told him that.
Se cuenta con confesión él.
Don't talk about my team, man. Don't talk about my team. Don't talk about my team.
Look at Volk. Look at Volk.
This is for Bryce. Bryce, after the
Look, I think that there's legit beef, but that wasn't it. So obviously, you know that they did the face off, and you know we saw Yair Rodriguez face off against his opponent. We saw Diego Lopez face off against his opponent as well. But after the face offs, there was even tension, you know, in the stage because they had to be separated again. Let's go ahead and watch this clip. So of course, you know, they're talking to each other. You know, they're wagging their fingers in front of each other. Like, that's just something you don't do, you know? Like, honestly, like, if another man's in front of you, there's, like, high tensions. You don't wag your finger in front of another man unless there's, like, obvious, no heated tension there and you're expecting a fight. Like, it's just something you don't do. But they have to be held back against each other, and it's a freaking mess.
This is an amazing fight. I legit think that there is some real beef here. If this fight were to happen this year, some things need to go down, and I'm gonna go ahead and talk about that very, very quickly. First and foremost, Yair Rodriguez needs to win. He cannot go expecting to fight Diego Lopez a losing skid. I mean, that fight just doesn't go down if Yair Rodriguez loses. He'll just make himself look like a dumbass, you know, trying to pick a fight with Diego Lopez if he loses to Patricio Pitbull, a guy who doesn't even have a win. I mean, let's go ahead and be honest. Patricio Pitbull, you know, he is a really, really good fighter, has a lot of success outside of the UFC, of course, in Bellator, but it's in Bellator, not in the UFC. And for Diego Lopez, in my honest opinion, if he loses to Alexander Volkanovski, the likelihood of this fight happening increases by 1,000%, because obviously if Diego Lopez does go ahead and become champion, in my honest opinion, I just don't think it would be that good of a look if he gives someone like Yair Rodriguez a shot at the belt while he's in a losing skid. So in order for this fight to happen, in my honest opinion, Yair needs to win his fight and Diego Lopez needs to lose. Those are the only contexts that I see this fight happening this year, maybe in September in Noche UFC in Guadalajara. Those are the exact results that we need. Yair Rodriguez needs to win and Diego Lopez needs to lose in order for this fight to happen this year. Because if Diego Lopez wins, he does not give someone that's in a fight losing skid a shot at the belt. Let's just go ahead and be honest about that. But that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. This is a fight that I'll definitely be tuning into. Like, the UFC is getting good again, you know, and hopefully this fight, you know, does change my mind in terms of like where the UFC is kind of headed, because I do think that as of late it kind of has been, everybody feels it, I feel it, the fans feel it, the content creators feel it, that the UFC kind of feels like it's going towards a little bit of a slump, in my honest opinion. But the one that I'm excited for. Hopefully we do see this fight sometime this year. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment. As always, it's a pleasure. Peace out and have a good one.